Hey, Dr. Dixon, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. So I want to go ahead and have a conversation. I've had some with some of my first grade teachers, and since you're the lead teacher, I want to go ahead and ask you about what we are teaching right now in our class. What is the standard that we're teaching, and in a sense, how are you addressing that standard? How are you introducing it?
Currently, we are doing standard RL point 1.3, which is, and we put it in kids' terms. I can describe the characters, the setting, and major events in the story.
All right. So that is it like going to be a reading standard?
That is our reading standard.
Okay, so that's a reading standard for literature, basically.
Yes.
So you've been reading, looking at your lesson plans, you've been reading some stories in a sense. So
Absolutely.
with those stories you've addressed this week, they've been focusing on finding the setting,
Yes.
finding the characters,
Yes.
and basically things about that.
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at that. What are some instructional strategies? Because we've had traditional and remote students, basically.
Correct.
Some of our remote students for the second 9 weeks have come back into the traditional building and setting. What are some of those instructional strategies that have been working for your students?
So to be safe during a pandemic, I've tried to do carouseling socially distanced, where I've put anchor chart paper out, and the kids are able to carousel. Not quite naturally, they carry their own writing utensil, so that we're not all sharing the same pencil, and they are able to list details about the character, maybe list where they think the setting is, because I explained that the author does not always tell us where the story takes place.
Has there been another form of instructional strategy that's really been working? What's
graphic
that?
organizers.
Okay.
That way my friends, or I'm sorry, my scholars, that's what I like to call them, are able to organize details about the story on that graphic organizer, because I have specific ones that target various components.
Okay, so graphic organizers, and also looking at, what did you say the first time?
Carouseling.
Okay, carousel.
Yes.
I'm going to get back in the classroom this week to make sure I can see some carousel.
Yes.
So looking at that content standard, because that's one of the things we're focusing on this year, increasing the reading achievement of our students through professional development, and especially the quality of instruction with reading. Looking at some of the things you do, I know you're really strategically instructing our kids, but could you elaborate on some of the data that you've been able to gain from our kids this year, and what data is really driving your instruction?
Okay, so normally I use...
Oh, you got a class in a little bit, don't you?
Yes, I do have class in just a minute, sorry. So normally I look at their weekly test as well as the quarterly district common assessments, because that way we can use the data analysis form to see the commonly missed questions and go from there.
So moving from here, in a sense, I just want you to look at the difference that you might see from boys and girls.
Correct.
Even with the demographics of some of our black males and white males, females and white females. Looking at those to see if you see any difference between that. And also we'll reconvene at a later time to just see that if you see a need to change up the instructional strategies and to change the way that you assess our kids. Looking at the standard, we want to focus on that as always to drive the instruction, but we also want to make sure that we're doing something that's going to engage our kids and keep them attentive to what we're instructing.
Which is why I always try to reflect to make sure that I'm also, to be attentive to what they need, I look at what I'm doing as well. So yeah, reflection is real big.
Okay, all right, thank you. Oh, you can go back and spread some of this to your professional learning community.
Yes.
Because I know you work heavily with the first grade team, and we'll go from there. Thank you for your conversation.
Thank you.